All right, thank you very much for joining tonight's press conference with head coach Pat Noonan following FC Cincinnati's 3-2 win over LA Galaxy. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach, and then we'll move to Zoom, time permitting, after questions here in person. Pat, if you'd like to get started with a statement on tonight's match.
Yeah, far more, I think, entertaining than it probably should have been. Certainly a lot of that after the red card, but prior to the red card, we do a good job to get the lead in the game, and I think just managed playing with the lead in a poor way where we got away from some of the things that brought us some early success and just tried to do too much, and I think the game got opened up and they hurt us in transition, and second half, obviously the game goes into our favor with the red card, and my frustration is with myself and with the group is how we managed that stretch, because for whatever reason we felt like we needed to score every time we played forward, every pass, every decision. It was poorly managed. So it kind of overshadows the result at a critical time. So hopefully another good lesson. Like last week, we got to experience closing a game out and finding a goal. Today was a little bit more unique, and we just didn't manage it well.
We'll start your record.
Pat, another victory on the road, 10 on the year. You guys over the last 2 years have been maybe the best in MLS, but even with the red card and the way things happen, that's hard to do on the road. What is it tonight that maybe helped you guide to that victory, and does this play into a theme throughout the year of your success on the road?
Well, we had a good start. I mean, we scored some good goals, I think, stretched the game in a good way, and then found some space to move the ball left to right. And there was a better balance, I think, at the beginning of the game than we saw, after we were up 2-0. So, how you win on the road doesn't always matter, but tonight for me it did, because I think we could have managed it better, and that's what sticks out. So we get the win and we move on.
Brenner comes in, gets the brace, ends up being the game winner. Now 3 goals in 2 games. What has he done that's maybe surprised or unlocked to add to your offense in a positive way?
Well, as a starting point, he's a very good player, and I think we're seeing the best version of him. Like tonight, you see how he plays the game for 90 minutes, and I thought he played it in a better way than a lot of our guys. Making the right passes, the right movements to help our team attack, to help our team defend, tracking back at the end of the game in ways where we shouldn't even need him to track back, but he did. And setting a good example right now. So, and along with the talent and the setting example, he's got a good idea how to connect with Evander, good idea how to connect with Kevin. There was a lot of good combinations and movements amongst those three, but he looks just like a more mature player.
Evander, 3 assists, pulls the strings in a lot of ways and a lot of things tonight. But you just mentioned it's the combination, as with Kevin as well. What have you seen from those 3 over the last 2 weeks since the break? I know Kevin wasn't there for the whole time, but that has maybe impressed, or what you are still looking to get from them?
Well, our job, my job as a coach, our job as a staff, Evander's teammates' job is to get him in the right positions to have an impact, because he does, make a difference in so many ways. And so tonight, you could see we got him into some really good spots. Let's take the red card out of it. We got him into some good spots before that, and his final product is just, it's elite. And I thought once we were up a man, we were forcing too many plays, whether it was to him, whether it was from him, and that's when the game, I think, just got too chaotic and in such an unnecessary way. So I have high demands and expectations for him, and I know he wanted to be out there till the end, but he can be even better, and that's scary.
And then Ender Echenique gets his first goal for the club, opens the scoring. What stood out to you about him tonight on top of that goal, but maybe including it as well?
understanding of the right moments to stretch the game. I think that's what we've started to see improvements with, and on the goal, on a couple other plays, I think he, and especially in the first half, recognized the right moment to attack the space behind. And so, now it's okay. When's the moment to run behind? When's the moment to to work our way inside? Excuse me. On the dribble, when's the right time to rotate the ball because we don't have options? So those were, a couple of the areas that he's improved.
Hey, Pat.
How you doing, Scott?
Good to see you.
You as well.
Both of the first two goals, the Galaxy are going to have their complaints. They give the
Right.
turnover on the first one. They just get sliced up on the second.
Mm-hmm.
But the passing in both of those goals I was as good as I've seen all year. Just can you talk a little bit about that ability
Yeah.
to slice up defenses with the pass?
Well, in the last couple weeks, obviously we had been struggling at home to score, and so when we were looking at those games, what stood out was how we were moving to goal, and at times just a lack of urgency and poor timing. And you see on those goals when we get the change of speed right, when we get guys attacking the right space, whether it's for themselves or whether it's to open up their teammate, then you see goals created like that. And so that's what I was pleased with, and that's where you want to be greedy and you want to see more of it, because they're capable, and not just of getting into these positions, but making the final play. And that's why we look for it, or are looking for it more consistently with more purpose.
On the second one comes after a stretch where the Galaxy was all
Yeah.
over your box. They ended up with 13 shots in that first half.
Right.
So they're all over you.
Yeah.
They're looking for an equalizer and maybe feel that they should have gotten one
Yep.
at some point there. And then you guys just come back
Yeah.
with boom, a play like that, and something like that just strikes at a team.
Yeah. Well, we managed the period of time after the goal poorly. It starts with one moment where you don't control the ball, and all of a sudden you're having to defend against a team that's, one, good with the ball, two, gets dangerous players in dangerous spots, and now you're having to defend close to goal in a way that becomes too desperate, and then that stretch carried over to up until the goal, really the second goal, and it shows you how we can strike quickly. But it was too long of a stretch for me as far as managing the lead right after. We can be a little bit more patient and just, okay, let's now sit on a lead. And I say sit on a lead, that could be 30 seconds, that could be a minute, but just make sure that you're in control of the next phase. And we didn't, and that's when they had a lot of momentum and a lot of chances. And then the goal obviously was was timely, but and then even after that, we didn't manage, up into half to see the half out in a strong way. So those are things that stand out despite some really good things that we saw tonight.
Very tight Eastern Conference race, very tight Shield race.
Yeah.
Brenner being in the mix, what ways does this impact things for you?
Every game right now, you see we're fighting for playoff seeding, and the goal at the beginning of the year was to get a home playoff game in that first round, and now it's how many home games can we get based on these results. So in some ways, you're not saying it has to be perfect. You want it to look different than tonight, but winning is important at this stage to just have the highest possible seed, and that's kind of been the focus. Is you have a slip up, and that position can drastically change from a second place to a fifth place. That's just how tight it is right now. So, and that's how it'll be for the remainder. So, it's an important win and a good, like I said, a good lesson in a lot of ways of how we can improve.
All right, we're going to move to the Zoom now for questions. Laurel, go ahead.
Thank you. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Sam Geedy getting his first start. What did you feel like he brought to your starting lineup tonight?
Good calmness on the ball. I think what we've seen in the time since he's arrived is a good comfort level, a good understanding of Evander's positioning, Pavel's positioning, whoever he's been working with tonight. Obviously, those two, and being able to connect our back line, to our wing backs, to Evander. I think his movement off the ball and how he engages defenders to break pressure has been impressive. Defensively, there was a couple of moments where I think, over aggressive. He was over aggressive and play got behind him. But some of these things are natural for a new player, a young player, getting acclimated to so many things. But he's been strong enough that in a key moment, we're putting him in there to start. And so that speaks to the trust we have in him. And, I think it's growth and progress from, his first minutes the other week. And hopefully we can continue to see him improve.
Did you have any concerns with how wet the field was? It seemed like there were some spots that were really, I know you guys ended up getting the result and it impacted both teams probably, but was that anything that you were concerned about?
Field's great. We want it to be fast, and the condition of it was excellent. The speed of it was excellent. You want to have a fast-paced game because the conditions of the field allow that, not the the other way around. So no complaints about the field. That was the weather, the field conditions were excellent for the players tonight to go and perform.
Laurel, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, if I could ask one more. With Alvis Powell being your first center back option off the bench tonight, I know you had talked about LA's speed. Was that kind of how much did that play into
a lot
using him as your first guy?
Yeah, a lot. In the second half when the game was getting stretched and when they were causing us problems with getting Paintsville and Peck on the ball, there was a couple moments where Nick was in isolation and that was part of the reasoning there to make the change. Obviously, he picked up the yellow, so you don't want to put a player in position where he might have to take another one. So, Alvis obviously gives us some more speed. We moved Miles into the middle, and so that was kind of the reason for Alvis. We thought about teenage, but having him in the middle and having Miles in the middle, it felt right in that game in that moment to have Miles in the middle and put Alvis on the right.
We'll wrap up with Carter.
Pat, you mentioned it a little bit in some of your answers here tonight, but if there's a key point you hope the guys take away from tonight's game, moving into training this week and into the final three, what is the thing that you think is the most important for you guys to focus on to move on from that, to move forward from
when
this?
we play the game in a simple way and guys trust their teammates in certain moments and not try to overcomplicate things, I think we're a very good team. And when we go away from that, I think that's where we struggle the most, and we put a lot of unnecessary pressure on our group defensively to have to defend in space. And if we can get that improved, I think we'll be a more well-rounded team.